Morning all. How is it the second Sunday of September already?
I don't know.
It'll be Halloween before we know it. Yeah, anyway. You're watching Sunday's IrelandAM.
But how many days till Christmas, Martin?
108.
Oh, that was some quick math.
I swear to God, he's Santa's very best elf. You know absolutely everything about Christmas. So excited.
Tomorrow week is 100 days to Christmas.
Yes, and we said the C word. I do apologise. Now, anyway, on the way this morning, we talk Starmer strictly and soaring property prices as we review your Sunday papers.
In sport, we're going to be looking back at Ireland's UEFA Nations League opener against England at the Aviva Stadium.
Myself and Shiva will be getting some essential DIY tips for transforming our walls by ourselves. Yes, they're giving us a drill.
Yes, power tools.
They're not letting me at the drill again for some reason. I have no idea why. We speak to Corkonian comic Ross Browne on his struggles to put words in young offenders' mouths. That's after 10.
And after 11, we chat to a woman with HIV on her struggle to get fertility treatment in Ireland.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
This afternoon we'll see cooler, cloudier and breezier weather with some scattered light showers and patches of mist. Temperatures will range between 13 and 17 degrees. This evening we can expect moderate to fresh and gusty northwest winds, the mildest being across southeast Leinster. Temperatures will range between 13 and 16 degrees. And tonight we'll see a mix of cloud and clear spells with just a few well-scattered showers. Overnight temperatures will range between 10 and 13 degrees.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Now let's have a first look at your Sunday paper, starting with the front page of the Sunday Independent. Its headline reads, "Property prices on track for a 10% surge this year." The paper goes on to report that house prices grew by 8.2% in the first half of this year, with property price inflation predicted to hit 10% by the end of 2024.
On the front of the Business Post this morning, it leads with Harris and Starmer herald new dawn for Anglo-Irish relations. It writes that after their first bilateral meeting in Dublin, the two leaders pledged to hold a joint summit in March of each year to deliver a fundamental reset in the relationship between Ireland and the UK post-Brexit.
The Sunday Times leads with vulture funds to pay twice stamp duty on homes. The paper reports that the rate of stamp duty on the bulk purchase of new homes by so-called vulture funds should be doubled to 20%, according to Fine Gael, amid mounting pressure on the coalition to tackle the housing crisis.
On to the tabloids, in the Irish Mail on Sunday leads with Fianna Fáil launch fight back to claim credit for budget. The paper writes that Fianna Fáil-led departments are colluding to develop vote-catching budget cuts to outshine their Fine Gael coalition partners.
The Irish Sunday Mirror opens with "Brian forgets who I am." It reports that Fair City actor Brian Murray's rapidly progressing Alzheimer's means he often does not recognise his wife and former co-star Una.
The Sunday World leads with "Bad blood. Gun thug says he's all good after horror stabbing." The paper writes that volatile criminal Gavin Sheehan, who was the target of a daytime knife attack in Cork City on Friday afternoon, is doing well after he posted the short statement "We're good" to social media on Friday night.
The Sun on Sunday leads with Amanda rage at BBC over Geo. The paper goes to report that Sherlock star and former Strictly participant Amanda Abington is angry with BBC executives as she believes a probe into the alleged abusive behaviour of professional dancer Giovanni Pernice will be a whitewash. Beam me up, Scotty, for all you Star Trek fans out there. Da-da-da. Today is International Star Trek Day. And I didn't know it was International Star Trek Day because I was very tired when I woke up this morning and I was a bit grumpy, wasn't I?
Yeah, but then it turned into the best day of your life.
Yeah, because I'm very happy. Yeah.
Yes. Today, September 8th, marks 58 years since the hit franchise graced our screens.
And in honour of the day, a petition has been started to erect a statue in Killarney, County Kerry, of the famous Star Trek character Chief Miles O'Brien, played by actor Colin Meaney, who, by Star Trek lore, hailed from the Kerry town.
Now, to be fair, Colin Meaney does not embrace his place in Star Trek history at all.
What?
No, you wouldn't see him at the conventions or anything like that. So, and if you meet him, he'd be more...
That's because he's busy. He's a very busy
a lot
actor.
of them are very busy. But
not as busy as our Col.
They are, I will have you know. Look, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, he's a very busy man. He embraces his Star Trek-ness all the time. And I'm maybe a little bit biased when it comes to the Star Trek.
You also have to remember, Colin is a dyed-in-the-wool Dublin supporter.
So?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, a statue of him down in Killarney, I'd be down myself to put a Dublin shirt on.
I'm not disputing the Killarney stuff, because in fairness, in Star Trek he is from Killarney. But if you're to erect a statue of somebody like anyone that you really, really love, who would you... Oh, God, it's going to be a Dublin player, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who?
Heffo.
Who the hell is Heffo?
Sacrilege. Sacrilege.
Who's
Can somebody
Heffo?
get a bottle of holy water?
Who's Heffo? They're all fainting around here. Who's Heffo?
Kevin Heffernan.
Who's he?
The man who changed football in the 70s.
What year?
He came onto the scene in 1974, completely
I wasn't
changed
even
football.
born.
Doesn't matter.
I wasn't even born, for God's sake.
Get a priest. Somebody, get somebody in.
How about you? Who would you like a statue of while he recovers himself? We need to get him some smelling salts.
Yes,
He's had a fit of the
I've been
vapours.
trying to think about this. I'm trying to think what are the most iconic characters, actors, Irish people on TV. I'm really struggling. I was thinking Father Ted, but I know there's already a statue to Dermot in Stephen's Green, isn't there? Yeah. So, I don't know. I have to think about it. But I have to say that, so this was a petition that got started for the statue. It has 31 signatures.
Okay.
So I think it has a bit of a way to go before this statue is actually erected.
Yeah,
let's hold the phone there a little bit.
Trekkers of Ireland.
Oh, here, what have you got?
Oh, here we go. She's dropping it.
Here we go. What have you got?
Do you know, everyone knows I am a small bit of a fan, but this was given to me for my 40th birthday.
Right.
By one Marina Sirtis. Now, I'm trying to get the glare out of it there. If you like Star Trek, this is the cast with Star Trek The Next Generation, which rebooted the whole series. Like, I have signatures of everybody of the main cast on the bridge, except, of course, Patrick Stewart. But that is what I have there.
Come on, Pato.
That is my prized possession.
Can we call him Pato?
We can.
Yeah,
You can call him what you want. But can I also say today is International Star Trek Day. She didn't know it was, and she still has this on her person at all times. Like,
yeah.
She just always has it in her pocket.
Bit strange.
It's in my locker, not my pocket. Yeah. Listen, you know I'm as odd as two left feet. I've never made any phones about it.
She says it herself.
And that's why we love you.
Anyway,
Anyway.
who would you like to see a statue erected of?
I'd like one of you, Martin.
I'm starting that petition
You are the most
today.
legendary male Irish presenter we've had for... Look, there's Gaybo and there's you, and I'm not even joking.
Wow.
Everyone loves you, Martin.
I
Everyone
totally agree.
How much do you love Martin? Tell us now. 089 611 111. Let's see, I even remembered the phone number just for you.
OK.
Right.
All right.
Up next, I've mortified you enough. You've got a friend in me. We discuss having Harris and Starmer reset Irish relations. We chat through that and the other top stories making today's papers after this short break. You're very welcome back. Now, from a reset in relations to a rise in house prices, we're joined by Assistant Editor of the Irish Daily Mail, Linda Mara, and Deputy Political Editor with the Irish Examiner, Paul Hosford, to discuss what is making the news in the Sunday papers today. Paul, we have to start first with the beautiful relationship that has been rekindled yesterday, and I'm not talking about what happened on the pitch in the FIFA.
Yeah, this is the resetting of relations between Ireland and Great Britain. This is something that started just after Keir Starmer's election in early July. One of his first phone calls was with Simon Harris. That was very strategic from the British side. There was him, there was Emmanuel Macron. Britain knows that after Brexit that it's a bit isolated, that it's kind of turned its nearest neighbours into not enemies, but it's isolated itself a lot. Keir Starmer has come in, embraced the relationship. He understands Northern Ireland. He was a Director of Public Prosecutions up there. He went on his honeymoon to Northern Ireland and Donegal. He kind of still understands Northern Ireland. And one of the things that they've looked at over the last couple of weeks is, can we reset this relationship? Can we do something that's, I suppose goes beyond just words? One of the problems that the Irish government had in the past was that the face time they felt with previous UK Prime Ministers, particularly Boris Johnson, just wasn't there. They didn't get enough time. They didn't get to speak. They didn't get to meet on the fringes of things, UN assemblies, G7 meetings or anything like that. So Keir Starmer made a big play in July of inviting Simon Harris to Chequers, the country retreat of the UK Prime Minister. That was the day before he hosted the European political community. So he was having 47 European leaders in Oxford anyway, but he made a big play of having Simon Harris be the first one there. From the Irish side, there's a big kind of acknowledgement that the language has shifted from Britain. They talk about co-guarantors of the Good Friday Agreement. We're used to that. We're used to hearing that here in Ireland because we understand that our government tries to impress upon Britain that it has a role in the North. Previous British governments haven't. They've talked about the Good Friday Agreement as almost an abstract. Keir Starmer has talked about, you know, the UK role in it. He reiterated it again yesterday. There's going to be a yearly summit every March between the leaders of the two countries. That's going to go beyond the establishments of the Good Friday Agreement, the likes of British Irish Council or the inter-ministerial conference. So it's going to, they reckon it's going to be more of an executive clearinghouse, somewhere where ministers can actually get together and work on.
Because there was quite a lot of damage done, particularly under Boris Johnson, because, I mean, the rhetoric was quite confrontational, quite dismissive at times as well about any concerns, particularly when it came to customs, the border, etc. So this really looks like it's a good reset and quite jovial as well and friendly, because even yesterday when there was a shout out, can we have whatever about getting the 60 counties back? Can we have Declan Rice back? And he went, absolutely not. So he did draw the line somewhere, Linda.
Yeah, so I think that the relationship between the two of them seems to be quite affable, quite amiable, and as people, which, you know, goes a long way towards when you're starting kind of negotiations. The language yesterday was quite, you know, there was things like a new era of cooperation and friendship, new programme of strategic engagement. I did find it funny, one of the things, so they were, you know, one of the things they were talking about was obviously we have €120 billion a year economy between the two, so that, you know, it's something that has to be protected at all costs. But they were talking about security, climate, culture, education and people. People.
Oh,
yeah,
that's lovely.
Wasn't that very nice?
Yeah.
I think that's code for Irish nurses going to the UK to work there.
Oh,
Possibly.
lovely.
So, but yeah, so I think, you know, it's. I think Starmer certainly wants kind of a watered-down version of Brexit. Like, my best pal lives in Wales. My nephew left earphones there in May when we stayed over with her. She wasn't able to post. She posted them and they went back to her.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing is absolute nonsense. So you can imagine what businesses are dealing with right now. So there definitely needs to be kind of more cooperation between the two countries.
It was very telling that the round table that they had in Farmley included a lot of Irish businesses that do a lot of exporting, and one of the big ones there was Primark.
Accenture, yeah.
The likes of Keelings and Accenture, people who do an awful lot of business in the UK.
To fix the stuff on the ground, really, that's causing problems, and a lot of red tape that doesn't need to be there. Moving on to the Sunday Independent's lead story, and of course it's a headline that dominates a lot of papers and has done over the last number of weeks and months. House prices again, and it looks like there's no slowing down in inflation when it comes to house prices. And a lot of the time, normal people are just being outbid by investors and people buying property to rent. Yeah,
this is research by IPAV, the property auctioneers and valuers. They found that the price of houses could go up by 10% this year. And one of the things that really stood out to me was that you're looking at, one of the things that you've always been told is that if you can't afford in Dublin, you can start kind of moving out. And that circle where you move out is starting to get more and more expensive. The likes of Roscommon, Leitrim saw double-digit increases in the last year. Donegal doubled the national average. And Donegal's a county that's going to have huge problems when micro redress starts to kick in, because all of those people will need places to live. So you will need even more supply than you would in normal circumstances. We've got a growing population, about 100,000 in the last year, but you're talking about 35,000 homes. That kind of pace, it doesn't seem to be keeping up. And like you said, first-time buyers are in competition with institutional investors. They're in competition with approved housing bodies. They're in competition with local councils. You know, and one of the things that the Sunday Independent story talks about is, you know, an investor can throw an extra €5,000 or €10,000 onto their bid without really affecting the yield that they're going to get, because rents are so high.
Yeah. So and when you look at it as well, I mean, to people buying, I mean, Fine Gael today kite flying about the budget, saying even doubling the stamp duty when it comes to buying. Will that realistically do anything when the yields are so high for rent?
When yields are 15%, that means nothing to, you know, and especially when they're also multi-property owners as well, so they have income from, you know, a lot of properties coming in. So things like that, as Paul said, adding another, you know, the bid has gone up to this, throw another 5 onto it, throw another 10 onto it. You know, normal people can't do that. You know, they're already at the absolute ends of what they
triple the rent what their mortgage would be in the building I'm in now in a lot of instances.
And I think what a lot of them are doing now is they're buying homes that have never been let before, so there's no rent cap on it. So they can then set
the second-hand property market is where they're targeting now, where traditionally maybe they might have bought blocks of properties off plans or new builds, but that doesn't seem to be happening now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I suppose when you're in that space, when you're buying it, you accept that if there's a new development of 100 homes, that some of them are going to be gone before you even get a chance to buy them, because that's just the way it is. But I suppose you always kind of think, if you walk into a house down the road from your parents or whatever, that you won't be competing. But we bought our house 6 years ago and we did it. You know, you're walking in and you're looking at people, you're going, that's a landlord, that's an investor. You know who they are and you know what you're up against. And when you see them, and I'm sure viewers can definitely can agree with this, is that when you see them, your heart drops because you go, well...
You know they haven't trouble. Actually, if you are at home and if you're watching this, if you've had trouble securing your house, have you been outbid by investors, let us know, 0896 111 111, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's looking and failing these days. But speaking of failing, BBC has been accused of failing as well when it comes to the probe into misconduct in Strictly. There's a holy war going on there with Amanda Abington.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So Amanda Abington claims that she had PTSD after competing in Strictly, that her partner Giovanni Pernice put so much pressure on her. She claims there was inappropriate video sent, there was lewd text sent, that he had a habit of grabbing his crotch and making remarks. So she made a complaint. Other women have come forward, Laura Whitmore being one of them. She danced with him as well in the past, and she has spoken to the BBC. The 6 others have spoken to the BBC. And the report is due out now next week, but Amanda Abington is concerned there's a bit of a boys' club going on there, and she reckons that some of the questioning that was put to her over when she was explaining what had happened, that a bit of it was like, oh, is that not just, did you not feel that was just banter? Did you not think that might have been just a joke? And so she's kind of worried that that's going to be the underlying... That
she's going to be put across as being a sensitive woman as opposed to someone who was a victim of something.
And it's telling because in this series, the upcoming series, there's only 6 women and 9 men, which is the first time that's ever happened. And it seems to be because there's a bit of a reluctance among women. Zara McDermott came out as well. She was dancing with Graziano Di Prima. You know, he kicked her. You know, which is not something he's denied. And so, you know, there really seems to be a culture. And look, this is, for the professionals, this is their business on show. And, you know, and you completely understand that there's an intensity to it, but there's a very fine line between intensity and bullying. And, you know, it's up to the BBC to decide which it was, I suppose.
And we'll see. The report is due out later this week, isn't it? So it'll be interesting to see what's in that. Linda, Paul, thank you both so much for joining us on the show this morning. Now, up next, we delve into some of the sporting headlines with Ireland's new manager, Heimer Hallgrimsson, getting his new era off to a start against England yesterday. See you in 3.
Sports journalist Angelina Nugent is going through this morning's top sports stories with us. But first, we'll take a pick of the back pages. The Independent starts with back with a bang, as former Irish internationals Jack Grealish and Declan Rice both scored on their return to the Ireland fold. Their return to Ireland, securing a 2-0 victory in the UEFA Nations League opener. Hal Grimson is what the Sunday World have gone for, with the new Ireland manager getting off to a losing start in his first game in charge of the side yesterday. And Sunday Mirror goes with booze cruise after Grealish and Rice both silenced a sold-out Aviva Stadium with 2 first-half goals, giving new manager and former Irish international Lee Carsley a win in his opening game as England interim manager. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Martin.
It's a shame we're not talking about an Ireland even draw, let alone win, but it was what we expected really yesterday.
Yeah, there was kind of a sense of inevitability to the result. Once we were 7-8 minutes into it, I think we were just saying before we came on air, you could see England settle into the game. They were controlling it, they were bossing it, and really you couldn't see anything but an England result. In fact, he had the slow walk to the dugout, you know, he was relishing in the booze. So they're different characters, but I do think that was kind of strange that they were the 2 players who had to score both goals.
It was almost written that's how it would turn out. We were saying yesterday on the show that the best thing to do is not to react to them at all. Don't boo them, because they're expecting the boos, and professional sports people, at the best of times, love that.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Even if you bring it to an amateur level, we've all heard stories of, you know, headlines being pinned up. And I don't think there was anything too harmful. I think we're in better territory there. And there's always a sense of maybe apprehension that, oh, could, you know, this go really awry? And it hasn't over the last number of years. So that's really positive and really good, Martin.
OK. Heading into the game, I thought if we can stay within 2 or 3 goals of England, they're the 4th best team in the world. We know where we are at the moment. It's not 1991 when we had McGrath and Townsend and these guys playing for us. It's a different time. So trying to find the positives, We had a better second half.
We had a better second half, and I think we have to remember, while England are in a transition period as well, they're coming from 54 places above us in the world rankings. So, you know, that's a gap. As you said, it's not 99. It's not the era of those great players that were kind of able to grind out results that were going totally against the grain. So we do have to remember that. I think the fact that we're also going through a new era as well with management, we'll need to face teams that I think are on more of a level, our level, to see where we're at. And it'll take a transition period when you have new management as well. I love the headline, Hal Grimson. But, you know, it was a difficult opening fixture. Let's make no bones about that. They faced Greece on Tuesday evening. Greece had a win last night, but I think that's more at our level. Let's see where we're settling into. But I think for a few months at least, you're not going to see a true picture of where Ireland lie.
Just very quickly before we move on, Lee Carsley, he celebrated Rice's goal like he'd won the World Cup, which was tough to see, bearing in mind he played for us. It was funny when he went into the wrong dugout.
And the reaction from the crowd, Martin, was absolutely brilliant. I mean, and you know, what I think made it even better was his expression. It was like, you know, if you trip and fall over something in public and you want, did anyone see me? You'd break two legs and say, well, I'll get up because I don't want anyone to see me with the embarrassment. That was Lee Carsley's face when he actually had to move, when he realised he was in the wrong dugout. There was some great stories around that. You know, a lot of spotlight falls on these managers beforehand. High pressure situations. Carsley had the worst of it in terms of managers before that game because of everything that went on with anthems and what was written in some of the English media. An awful lot of nonsense, in my opinion.
I think Roy Keane spoke out saying Jack Charlton never sang the Irish national anthem. We never made a big deal of it. Later today, Roberto Martinez, he won't be singing the Portuguese national anthem.
He certainly won't, no. And that's another interesting one later on this evening.
Absolutely. Well, we've got two games here on Virgin Media too today. We've got Bulgaria and Northern Ireland, but Portugal-Scotland, with Ronaldo looking for his 901st international goals, and Scotland coming off the back of a late defeat against Poland. And a tough journey to Portugal. They kind of need to get something from this game.
Absolutely. 2-hour delay. They didn't Croatia, but Portugal relying again on, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo, now 39 years of age. He's incredible. 100th goal. He's just amazing. They have to be favourites for this one. Though Scotland were level going down the home straight with Poland in their encounter. So, you know, UEFA Nations League, you don't know what's going to happen, but you'd have to fancy the Portuguese. I don't think they'll change it up too much for this game this evening either. OK. Let's move on to tennis, because I know that's one of your favourite sports. We had a great ladies' final and we got the men's final today. But, quite a ladies' final yesterday. And look, the American crowd wanted to see the American girl win, but it wasn't to be. Yeah, there was a brilliant reaction. If you get a chance to watch back the kind of reception Pegula got onto the court for the final last night. And she's from New York. Yeah, amazing. And you know what? One of your last guests was telling me in the green room earlier, her parents, which I didn't know, own Buffalo Bills, which is incredible. So we were just making the point, isn't she an incredible athlete to have put the head down and given the discipline that it needed to get to this level? Because in that position, I presume she didn't have to work awfully hard if she didn't need to. But yeah, Sabalenka, you could not deny her or begrudge her that win. She lost the final last year. She was seen smashing her racket after that, so you really couldn't begrudge her a win last night. Pegula, she's a little bit older, but you know, she's there or thereabouts. OK. Just today, Sinner will play Taylor Fritz. An American hasn't won an Open title in 21 years. We're not holding out much hope, though, for Taylor Fritz. No, Sinner, everything points to Sinner at the moment. He is the world #1. He's the in-form player. He did have a bit of an injury in the semi-final, a bit of a wrist injury, so it will be interesting to see if that impacts on him. But all the signs pointing towards Sinner. But let's hope we've a really competitive match. Let's hope so. Yeah. Let's hope so. Good to see you. Good to see you, Martin. For coming in. Thank you. Up next, some lunch inspiration. We've smoked haddock on the menu. We'll see you after the break.
You're very welcome back. Now, if you're looking for some inspiration for your next Sunday lunch, we've got you covered.
Chef Miran Manzoor from Rare in the Blue Haven Hotel in Kinsale joins us with something fishy. So what have you got for us this morning?
First of all, thanks for having me in the show. It's really honoured.
Pleasure.
Yeah, we're going to have, it's called pakora. It's like a fritter. It's like pakora translates for fritter. Here we have samphire, red onion, and smoked haddock fritters, which is made from chickpea flour, a bit of chili, coriander powder, and turmeric, and rice flour as well.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And you were saying you love haddock.
I love haddock. It's. Do you know what? I think it gets a bit of a bad rap because I think as fish go, it's got so much flavour packed into it.
Yes.
Like, it's not the easiest to cook as well, so you have
Yes.
to be conflate quite easily.
Because here in this box we have red onion, smoked haddock, and a bit of samphire as well. I haven't added any salt to it at all.
Okay.
Because the smoked haddock is salty and samphire is like bursting of ocean.
Yeah. Tell us, for people who mightn't be familiar with the ingredient, what actually is samphire?
Samphire is like a sea herb, which is like seaweed, samphire, sea plantain, sea truffle. It all goes on the ocean, and you can actually forage them when you go and walk. We actually have a forager for a restaurant who
really?
does this for us.
Is that where you got it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and Kinsale, you're very busy. And of course, congratulations have to be levelled at your direction as well.
Yes, thank you. And we have, I mean, with the gold medal awards, we've won the Chef of the Year this year.
Yes, you won Chef of the Year. It's amazing.
The Virgin Media Business Gold Medal Hotel Awards earlier this year. Were you expecting to win, or did you get a shock?
I was actually terrified. I had my wife who was pregnant 8 months with her first son with me there, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and we were with the whole team, and all of a sudden they always announced the Chef of the Year the last, and my name came up, and we were like so thrilled, and it's actually like Oscars for the Irish Food Hospitality Awards, and it's really nice, and it's done in a way which is better and bigger each year, and gone strength to strength, and it's really, really nice. You get to meet all your industry colleagues as well, and it's like one night where you win or not, you get to have fun, you know. So here we mix everything together, and we just had a splash of water. The trick for a fritter is to have less water as possible, so you get a nice crunchy fritter which doesn't take too much oil in it, so it's not greasy.
Yeah, so you want it to stick to your ingredients there.
That's exactly what it is.
So basically, you're just mixing all the ingredients you have there. It's not exactly a batter; it's just kind of the flour thing. And so you just have to wind it and squish it.
Yes, kind of like dusting and between dusting and mixing together. Then we.
And it's great. So this is chickpea flour. So this is gluten-free as well.
It is gluten-free. It is. You could swap the smoked haddock. You take it out, and it's vegan as well. You know, with samphire, and it's gluten-free. It's vegan. It's vegetarian. Then you can combine spinach and smoked chicken.
Okay.
And if you don't like fish, it's really, really good. Then we're gonna do next is we're gonna have a yogurt on the bottom to give the creaminess to it.
Ah, lovely.
Here we have natural yogurt with a bit of coriander already in it.
So that's it, just yogurt and coriander.
Coriander and a squeeze of lime.
Oh, okay.
Just to give that freshness and cut the.
And would the lime not cause it to curdle or anything, or?
No, it's for the yogurt.
I'm not great at cooking it, so you know I just have to ask these things. I guess I mess it up if I ever try
Better
it.
with Star Trek.
Yeah, better with Star Trek than actually cooking.
This is actually one recipe that you can actually cook it in 5 minutes when you have everything ready. Now in a couple of minutes this is ready and the yogurt is ready. All we do is now plate the yogurt on the bottom.
Oh, that was so simple.
And is this would you have that as a starter in your restaurant now at the moment?
Yes, we have this as starter for us. In Blue Haven we have 3 restaurants, and I manage the Rare, which we do only fine dining and tasting menus.
Yes.
But we have all-day dining kind of bistro restaurant where other chef managers, they do this there all the time.
So the tasting menu, how many courses is in that? They always fascinate me.
We have
like
around 15 courses.
Oh my God.
Of food. And it's nice,
oh my
actually.
God, if you had a wine pairing, you'd be falling out the door.
Yeah, well, it's actually nice. It's nice in a way that you get to taste a lot of different kind of cuisines. And because I'm from Chennai, that's where I come from, the southern tip of India. And what I use is everything that I learned in Europe, the techniques and local seasonal Irish ingredients, and put a spin on my spices and my heritage. So it gives me something very unique, you know, so that guests love it because it's something that you don't get elsewhere.
It's a bit of a fusion then as well, is it?
Yeah. And very unique as well when you think about it, because you have the Irish seafood and the samphire and everything like that, and the foraging these ingredients as well, which would be interesting. But with the spices that you'd have in Indian flavours and Irish ingredients. So getting this award, I mean, it must have been quite a feather in your cap personally, and of course for the hotel.
Yes, it is, and for me, because I can personally vouch for it, because I know what happens within the team, the motivational factor, the culture, everything just changes all of a sudden. And it has so much value that it has brought me to this stage, cooking for you guys, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really nice event, and you know, everything has kind of shifted one gear up because of this. And I think the deadline is on the September 12th.
Yeah.
And you could find the details on the goldmedal.ie to register your businesses. It's really good
really
fun.
worth it as
That's
well.
one thing that we actually look forward every year to go and have fun, you know.
So it's great for morale in the kitchen to have this award with you.
Yes.
You have it hanging off the wall in the kitchen?
No, we don't.
You should.
I was afraid your wife might have gone into labour with the fright of you winning it, actually, if she was next to you at 8 months pregnant.
No, because we don't awards are always good in a way that we actually believe that it's good in a way that it's kind of like a tap on the back that you're going in the right direction.
Of course.
And when you win
I'm
something,
going to test now whether or not you deserve this award, because I think I need to taste some of that deliciousness over there, because the smell is absolutely gorgeous.
Do you think you're qualified?
Excuse me. Listen, I might be able to cook
but you can
very
taste.
well, but I'm quite good at tasting there.
Okay.
Oh, that's lovely. And they're quite tiny, they're quite delicate as well.
yeah, but the pakoras that you get in Indian restaurants are like very dense.
Yeah.
But traditional pakoras are always like
and
this.
the
like very
chickpea flour would make it that little bit lighter.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to plate this up.
Fabulous.
That's me knife and fork.
Oh,
there,
yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Pass it over, Minnie, and we'll have a taste.
I'm just going to add goat's bridge trout roux on top just to have a pop on it and a bit of colour as well.
Wow.
What an interesting breakfast I'll be having this morning.
You can actually, you know what? I actually load this with a bit of poached egg on top. It's really
lovely.
good.
That looks beautiful.
I'm actually really good at poaching eggs, would you believe? There you go. I can't do anything else.
Minnie, thank you so much for making that. Full recipe details are on our website. You can call into Miran at Rare in the Blue Haven Hotel Kinsale and tell him we sent you. How is it?
Oh my God, that's out of this world. That is delicious. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Still to come this morning, comedian Ross Browne joins us. Plus, we have wardrobe staples and the cash book. We're back in just a few minutes after I have my breakfast. See you in 3. Now we'll have another look at your Sunday paper, starting with the front page of the Sunday Independent. Its headline reads, "Property prices on track for a 10% surge this year." The paper goes on to report that house prices grew by 8.2% in the first half of this year, with property price inflation predicted to hit 10% by the end of 2024.
On the front of the Business Post this morning, it leads with Harris and Starmer herald new dawn for Anglo-Irish relations. It writes that after their first bilateral meeting in Dublin, the two leaders pledged to hold a joint summit in March of each year to deliver a fundamental reset in the relationship between Ireland and the UK post-Brexit.
The Sunday Times leads with vulture funds to pay twice stamp duty on homes. The paper reports that the rate of stamp duty on the bulk purchase of new homes by so-called vulture funds should be doubled to 20%, according to Fine Gael, amid mounting pressure on the coalition to tackle the housing crisis.
Onto the tabloids, in the Irish Mail on Sunday leads with Fianna Fáil launch fight back to claim credit for budget. The paper writes that Fianna Fáil-led departments are colluding to develop vote-catching budget cuts to outshine their Fine Gael coalition partners.
The Irish Sunday Mirror runs with Brian Forgets Who I Am. It reports that Fair City actor Brian Murray's rapidly progressing Alzheimer's means he often does not recognise his wife and former co-star Una.
The Sunday World leads with bad blood. Gun thug says he's all good after horror stabbing. The paper writes that volatile criminal Gavin Sheehan, who was the target of a daytime knife attack in Cork City on Friday afternoon, is doing well after he posted the short statement, "We're good," to social media on Friday night.
The Sun on Sunday leads with Amanda rage at BBC over Geo. The paper goes on to report that the Sherlock star and former Strictly participant Amanda Abington is angry with BBC executives as she believes the probe into the alleged abusive behaviour of professional dancer Giovanni Pernice will be a whitewash.
Now it is time to take a look at some of your texts, and people have been getting in touch. We were talking about statues earlier. Who should we erect statues of people from Ireland.
Star Trek.
Yeah. You suggested Martin King, and Audrey has agreed. She says, Martin King, he holds the IrelandAM team together.
Super glue.
He always listens to people's stories when you text in and loves the sports chat. Great man. Put up a statue of him.
I agree. Here, here.
Here, here.
Audrey, thanks very much.
We should put
God bless you.
one out in the front of the building.
Yes.
Yeah. You'd be like the Statue of Liberty.
What's he holding?
Holding an ice cream.
Yeah.
And production notes.
That would be gas. We should do it. I think we should do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Get someone in to actually plaster cast you. How about that?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I can see that
Sorry,
being a
no,
feature
I
in the
shouldn't
next couple
suggest
of
that now
weeks.
because the producers will end up doing that just for us. What about a statue of Daniel Day-Lewis, says Christy Brown? Surely an Oscar win gets you a statue.
What about a statue of Christy Brown? Full stop.
Yeah.
That's true.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe,
Instead
yeah.
of the act of the Play-Doh. Michael says, surely there should be a statue as Colin Meaney from The Commitments rather than Star Trek. I think most people would have... I think more people in Ireland would have seen The Commitments than Star Trek. I'm going to say it.
Probably, yeah. But what would the caption be underneath it? What's the most famous Colin?
Not that line,
most
Elaine.
famous
Well,
Not
that's from
that
the
Colin
Snapper.
Meaney.
The one you're thinking of is from the Snapper.
Oh, do you know which one I'm thinking of?
Because that's the line everybody thinks of.
It
We
is.
had Ruth on
Not
the show
necessarily,
a few
not
months ago.
necessarily. What are you suggesting about my very pristine mind?
I'd say Bono must be, yeah.
Yeah. Cillian Murphy, for sure. That man is a national treasure down Patrick Street in Cork. I wouldn't mind looking at Cillian Murphy, a statue of him.
I
But
stand by it.
sometimes the statues look a bit dodgy. Like, we've seen some dodgy statues of famous people over there. That one of Ronaldo was a disgrace, remember?
Yeah,
We've had a few more.
I don't know.
like.
A statue's a statue. I'd still be honoured even if they messed up my face.
And Maeve
No,
thinks...
you would not. You'd be horrified.
I would, yeah, I'd
You'd
be
lie like a
raging.
cheap rug. You'd be mad. You'd be throwing a blanket over till they fixed it.
But Maeve thinks a statue of Katie Taylor on Portland Road needs to be...
That would be brilliant. I'd love that.
Right.
Mark and Kilkenny texts in saying, Elaine is speaking my language. That language being Klingon.
Kaplock. Mark.
Wow.
What is her favourite Star Trek episode?
Oh, God, the best of both worlds, part 1 and 2, I would say.
Oh, she knows them off the
She
top
knows
of her
them off
head.
the top of her head. No
Honestly.
problem.
I know.
Okay.
I did. Listen, as anyone who has ever watched me on television will know what this is because I never stopped banging on about it. I did do my thesis on Star Trek. So, you know, I watched all 240 odd episodes of The Next Generation for my thesis. So, you know, I'd want to know them all.
I'm just very proud of that fact, actually,
I
as
am,
well.
actually. It's my claim to fame.
Yeah. Not this show, not at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, it is
Happy
time
Star
to take,
Trek Day.
Yes, yes. It is time to take a look at some stories that have caught our eyes across the paper today.
Right.
And this one I love, okay? So, you know, sometimes you can take like personality tests and things that tell you a lot about yourself. But this in the Express Tribune says what your phone grip says about your personality.
What?
Your phone grip,
How
okay.
you grip your phone. So the way you hold your smartphone can reveal a lot about your personality, behaviour and even your outlook on life and emotions.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask both of you to take your phone out.
Yeah.
Let's go you first, Martin. How do you hold your phone?
I hold my phone like that and this.
And you text with the other hand?
Yeah.
OK, I can tell you exactly now what that says about you. This style, holding your phone with one hand and using a finger from the other hand, highlights your intellectual nature.
You need to hurry up with that statue, lads.
You enjoy solitude and deep thinking, often pondering over decisions before acting. You're someone who avoids superficiality and considers every angle before reaching a conclusion.
There you go.
I think that is nail on the head.
Get me the ice cream and the production notes.
Do you
I'm
like
there already.
solitude?
Do I like solitude? Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
there are times in the day when I would. Times in the week when I would like that.
Especially after us.
After
on.
this, show me how you do it.
Normally I have a pop in the back and I go like that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Hold it upside down as
That
well.
would be my wife as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Shiva, thanks. There you go. This is the way I hold my phone.
OK, and then you do it with one thumb.
Yeah.
OK, I can tell you what, I do the exact same.
Yeah.
This seemingly unconscious gesture suggests confidence. It indicates that you are the type of person who can command attention without doing too much. You walk into a room and effortlessly lighten the mood with a joke or playful remark.
I sing.
You do?
Feels actually, yeah.
I do. I sing lots of songs in the morning.
And that's how
Hang
you
on.
hold
I
the
do
phone.
the same
You
as
do
well.
the same, so we're practically the same person.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
We're very
there you
similar,
go.
just without the Star Trek over here.
Are there other ways
There
to
are
hold
other
your phone?
ways. So if you hold the phone with both hands and use one
Like this?
thumb, but
Yeah.
use just one thumb. This style reflects your disciplined and cautious approach to life. You are someone who carefully thinks through decisions and considers all aspects before arriving at a conclusion.
Look
and
at
then,
me helpfully going, this is how you
And
hold
then
it
if you
with
use
two hands.
both thumbs, this shows your passion for precision and efficiency. You value a structured environment and thrive in situations where time is of the essence.
There you go.
There you go.
How do you hold your phone?
How do you hold yours?
Let us know.
0896 111 111.
Coming up next, we're learning some essential DIY hacks and tackling home projects like a pro. Yes, they're giving Shiva and I drills.
Not me, though.
Not her. No, we've learned not to do that. See you after the break. Welcome back. We're learning how to save us money on hiring handymen today by doing things around the house ourselves.
Yes, DIY expert Martin Glynn has stopped by to teach us how to install fixtures on partition walls and how to avoid damaging them. Welcome, Martin. Great to see you.
Great to be back, guys. Thanks.
So what are the key differences between partition walls and regular walls when it comes to hammering or screwing something into them?
So your external walls in your house would be block walls. So we did that the last day. It's a hard material that you have to put the raw plug and the screw into and drill a hole.
Yes.
Whereas your partition walls are usually upstairs. They're your internal walls. So they're made up of 4x2s like this and plasterboard. So they're totally different things. So I get asked that question all the time. How I'd love to be able to hang a picture, but it all depends on what you're hanging. What wall you're hanging it onto, okay? So when you're working with partition walls, so on a block wall you can hang nearly anywhere, which we've seen the last day, but with a partition wall, which you have here, you have to find these studs which are in behind our walls. So these are plasterboards on the front, so every so often you have one of these studs.
So that's where not necessarily the nail, but at the best of times the screw needs to go into.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So if you put a screw into the plasterboard itself, it's nice and soft, but there's no hold. So if I put a screw in here,
yeah.
And that's fine, but eventually it's going to come loose.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in behind. So that's why you have to find these studs in behind.
Okay.
How do you find the studs?
Yeah, X-ray vision.
Yeah. So as you look, you probably kind of do need X-ray vision in a way but I'll give you three handy tips. So a lot of people say knock on the wall, but you really want a stethoscope to find them with that kind of scenario. So the three best ways to find them. So these studs are always 40 centimetres apart.
Always?
Right. Sorry, 40 centimetres from centre to centre.
Okay.
Always.
Okay, but
across the world.
So where do you get the first one? Over in the corner?
Well, that's one, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but then you don't know which corner you started on, so it's a 50-50. But so like these are clues. These like CSI stud walls we're doing here. So you use the three clues to find them. So once so 40 centimetres from the centre of this one to the centre of this one to the centre of this one.
Okay.
And then so that's to accommodate our sheets of plasterboard. So then that'll land halfway on this one, and three over to land halfway again to catch your next one.
Okay.
Okay. So then the next good clue is your sockets and switch boxes are always attached to the side of a stud.
Oh.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's going to be on the line of a stud wall.
Yes. So it'll always be to the side, but again, which side?
Yeah.
It's 50-50 again. That's clue number 2. But probably the best clue of all is your skirting board is always nailed into a stud.
Oh, that's a great one
Yeah,
then. So
so-
wherever the nails are.
Yeah, so they probably will be covered in and filled with a filler. But if you look carefully enough, you'll see it, you know. So what I would do is I come in 40 centimetres one side of a wall, go right down to the skirting board, give a good look there. If there's no sign at all, maybe come from the other side.
Okay.
Once you find one, then bang, 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 40, 40, 40.
Okay. You've mentioned the plug and the sockets, right? My fear would be that I would drill into an electrical cable, or worse than that, a water pipe.
Yeah, well, look at most of your water and stuff is down in a service panel, service chute in the corner, but your wires are loose in your stud wall. So even if you did kind of hit a screw, it'll push it to the side.
Right.
You know, it's not like in a block wall where it's in a conduit where it's confined and you could snip a wire. This,
No,
like, you know, if you go through it, yeah. Don't do it though. Again, but then there's times when you do want to fit something in between studs. So just say you want to hang the centre of a mirror or something on the wall, or do a collage of pictures or something like that. There's a few handy little fixings for that. So they're called plasterboard fixings.
Okay.
Go on.
So this is the first one here. So it comes in 2 parts, and they all come with the screws as well. So you don't need to overthink it. So it comes. You have this, and you have a screw. Okay. So when you put the screw into this, it spreads it out like that. Can you see that?
And secures it then.
Anchors in behind the plasterboard, okay?
Right.
So all you have to do is like this. There's my hammer. There we go. Just tap it into the plasterboard. Down flush like that, nice and easy. And then get your screw and just follow it in with the screw. If you're looking behind, actually, I'll turn this over so you'll see what happens behind when I put the screw in.
Okay.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to do one there?
Yes, okay, let's
Here
have
we
a go.
There's one each.
And can I just ask while we're doing this, Martin, how do I determine if a partition wall is, I don't know, can I put something heavy on it, like shelves or cabinets?
Yeah, so if you find a stud, you can put whatever weight you want on it.
Okay.
But with the likes of this is holds 15 kgs, so it actually holds an awful lot.
Look at that.
That's the stuff.
Lovely.
There we go. Put your screw in. Have you a screw there, Martin?
No, I don't. Not at the moment, but I do now. Thank you very much.
There's a few screws loose though.
Yeah.
Well, don't we know? Do you want your thoughts on stuff?
I do want my goggles.
yes.
Safety first. Thank you very
Of
much.
course, you see. Health and safety people will be around.
Is there any way that you could damage a partition wall through drilling or anything like this?
Well, I'm going to show you how to use filler in a few minutes. So there's always a way out once you. Pretty easy, isn't it?
If it went in.
Put the pressure down.
Oh, I need to put pressure on it. Okay.
There we go.
Lovely.
You won't hang much on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah, no, I
so
won't,
you
sorry.
can leave it out a small bit for it to hang. And look, just say you had a heavier mirror or something like that, you could put 2 fixings and double the load. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Of course it does. I remember we were getting some work done in the house, and like I am to DIY what King Herod is to Mother Care. Okay, all right. And we had a whole load of work done, and I said to the guy, I said, "Listen, we're going to hang a TV," and it was on a partition wall. And he said, "I wish you'd told me that."
Yeah.
Before we started, and he had to fix a large block of wood
In behind.
in behind, so that he could fix the TV to that. And again, he was looking for the studs so that he could do that. So.
But it's
We need to be mindful of
it's
that.
not that massive a job either. It is a pain. You know what I mean? If your task goes, we kind of make you feel like it's the end of the world, you know.
Yeah.
But it's actually not that difficult to cut out plasterboard and put in that bridging that'll catch heavier stuff like that. But ideally, if you knew beforehand, maybe
I should have told.
it's much easier.
I should have, because the last thing you want is to be watching your TV next of all it goes. Bop.
Yeah.
You don't.
Just falls off.
Okay.
So the second one I'm going to show you now. There's a load of different ones of these, but this is the 2 I really recommend because they work 99% of the time, as long as you don't hit a stud, and you'd be surprised how often you hit it when you're trying not to hit it.
Yeah.
So this one is very simple as well. It's just comes in 2 parts again. So you have this one, and it comes with a screw as well. So there's really thick threads on this. So when we put the screw in there, it popped out for easy. So this gets a good grip on the plasterboard. So if we just screw it in like this, so use your screwdriver for this part, just push it in, and it just takes a couple of twists to go down anyway. And when you get it down flush to here, don't give it the extra. Like you would with a screw, because what will happen is it'll just break up the plasterboard, turn into it. These the fins will break it up and pull the plasterboard back up to you. So just leave it nice and flush like that. Then get your drill
And in we go again.
Follow it in again.
Yes.
Can I just ask you, and Sheila brought it up, if you do make a mistake, you got to fill the thing in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Enough.
Yeah.
Very simple, yeah. Yeah, we'll do it now in a sec. So so filler, I'll go through filler here nice and quick. So there's 2 types of filler. You have your ready mixed stuff, which is ready mixed,
Handy,
obviously.
yes.
It is handy. There's pros and cons to it. As to be overcritical, you shouldn't need filler that often. Might be once every 6 months, once every year. So if you did go back to it, can dry out a small bit,
Okay,
which
gotcha.
is kind of annoying. But it is a great super substance to have. So this other one then is the one we mix ourselves. So it comes in a cardboard box and comes in a bag. The disadvantage is it can get everywhere. So if you have a piece of Tupperware, put it into that as soon as you get it.
And then you can just make it up as you go, and you're not wasting
exactly.
anything. Yeah.
So we have a bit there. So I just 8,000 pieces of Tupperware in the house, so I was lucky enough. So all it is just water, filler. So just mix it up like this. And it's like the cookery segment again.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Here we go.
So it's as simple as this. Like if it's too wet, you just put in more water. And I wouldn't use your tap as your water source either, because if you start putting it under the tap like this, you'll mix way too much. Just use a cup like this.
So you can put a few drops in at a time.
Yeah, and then if it gets too wet, put in a bit more filler. Before long, you'll have the whole bag mixed up.
Okay. And what
And you're good to
consistency
go.
are we looking for here? Like a paste?
Yeah, like I don't know cookery again, but like pavlova. When, you know that kind of when it peaks.
Do you cook as well, Martin?
No.
Perfect man.
My wife's at home now, kind of going, what does he know about cooking? But so just mix it up. That's as easy as it is. And then to apply it, then it's a little bit of filler here.
Okay.
To apply it, then it's just literally slap it on. And once you don't have to get it perfect, you know what I mean. You can just get it on. And when it dries, it sands.
You
really
sand it
easily.
off.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
we are unfortunately out of time, but like you
sorry.
just pop it on and then you sand it down. No,
That's
no
all,
worries.
yeah.
Martin, thank you so much for teaching us
See,
that.
don't use that as icing for your pavlova.
Yeah.
No. If you'd like to learn more DIY hacks, head to the website DIYacademy.ie for more from Martin.
Up next, we sit down with young offenders writer Ross Browne. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
You're very welcome back, whether he's selling out the Cork Opera House, writing a hit BBC series or co-hosting a radio show. Our next guest is Cork through and through by.
Yeah, we've got a Cork massive going on today,
so
lads. Joining us now ahead of his only joking tour is Cork comic Ross Browne. Good to see you again.
Morning,
Ross.
guys. Morning. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're always delighted to have
you.
you.
Are you used to the early mornings? You're grand.
That's grand. This is a lie-in for me. I'm normally home in bed and all at this time.
Anyway, before we get around to radio comedy, it's your thing. But it was a flood in Cork that made you do it full time.
Yeah, so I was kind of doing gigs and then also working with my dad as a contract cleaner. So this was even when I was doing The Fear for the Hidden Camera show. So I was leaving rap parties at like 12 o'clock at night to get down to put my hand into a toilet for 5 a.m. So it was the glamour. Everyone was like, you're on television. I was like, I'm cleaning toilets in the morning. And then when that flood happened in Cork, that massive flood, my dad lost a huge contract, which was kind of like the backbone of the entire business. So literally one day I came in and there was a flood and he was like, can't pay anymore. There's no work as of today. So I had to make a call. It was like, do I now just have to become somebody who just does, you know, a job for a career and, you know, put comedy to the side, or am I going to go all in on comedy? So I had to just go all in on comedy. So I just went about ringing up venues all over the country, just like cold calling them, just booking my own tour all through the back roads and every little town. And I used to zoom in on Google Maps to find a little grey spot. It's like, that looks like a village. Google the pubs. Find out which one looked decent and which one had a young crowd, and then just cold called them and said, hey, I'm doing a tour, I'm on The Fear, and it all went from there. And that's kind of like...
Yeah.
Hard graft.
That is
hard graft, but it's like, I think when your back's against the wall, that's kind of like when you do the best, work, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, because you weren't just looking after yourself.
No, I had 2 kids at the time. I have 4 kids now, so there's even double the pressure now. But like, yeah, I think it was a case of like, you know, you have to provide and put food on the table. So it was a case of there's no option. Yeah. You know, you just got to get out there and do it. Like.
No, you have the beautiful accolade of being the first Irish comedian to have their own special on Prime. Am I right?
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
How in the name of God did you land that one?
Again, it was another...
You're a bit jammy, like.
It was another punt, like. Yeah, I went over to LA to shoot a pilot or a sizzle reel for a hidden camera show that I thought of. And as we were over there, we just kind of... Because we're Irish, we met everybody else who was Irish in the industry by proxy. So we just kept meeting different people. And we met Emer Noon, who was the first ever conductor for the Oscars.
The Oscars, yeah, fabulous.
And her husband, then Craig Garfinkel, who had previously directed like the likes of Dane Cook in Madison Square Garden and other specials. And, you know, we showed him my previous year's Everyman show. And then he was like, do you want to try and make another one? So we went to the Opera House in Cork, shot it on spec. We had nobody signed on to distribute it or anything. We just made it off our own backs, and then we started shopping it out. So we got Comedy Dynamics in the USA then. They make all the Netflix specials and stuff to go, yeah, we'll purchase it, and then they sold it then onto Amazon Prime. So it was a complete shot in the dark, but we just kept pushing, you know.
Yeah. OK, so you just made it happen. Take a chance.
Yeah, we went over to LA and just used Ireland as a currency. You know, we really hammed up the accent. Oh, Jesus, how are you? You know?
Sure, where's my shillelagh?
We're looking for Amazon.
Book your new tour ad, Only Joking. What's the inspiration about this one?
Basically, it's a case that nobody ever takes me seriously in anything that I do, which is good for comedy because you can get away with saying anything and everybody just thinks, Bashir, he's a comedian. It's all in jest. But then in real life, nobody ever takes anything I say seriously. Right. So it's to the point where I think if I choked on something or was in an emergency, I think people would probably just throw their head up and go, what a messer, and walk off, and I'll probably die. And that was the thing, is that, like, when will people ever take me seriously?
But I was watching TV back in the 80s when Tommy Cooper
that's what made me think of it.
On stage, and everybody thought it was part of his act.
Yeah.
Until somebody came on the stage and said, we're going to go to a break.
Yeah, that was what made me think of it, was that it was his assistant that walked up and they pulled the curtain past him.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's a real-life example of somebody who, when in the throes of an emergency, everybody thought he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you do an awful lot of prank shows now, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've only yourself to blame.
I've set myself an impossible task to take
Ross
seriously.
Browne died today. Only himself to blame.
Yeah, and everyone will go, where's the punchline?
Yeah, but so from, we'll talk about radio in a while, but so from your stand-up to your Netflix specials on TV to your other TV endeavours, like those shows, you love doing them, of course, with Jennifer Zamparelli. Like, how did that come about?
The Fear was like, again, another kind of... I went out and I used to film my own hidden camera stuff. And then when everyone else used to go to Edinburgh, because basically I had a mortgage, so I couldn't afford to go to Edinburgh. When everyone else was out of the country, I used to, one, clean up on the gig circuit in Ireland because nobody was there, no one was there. And then I used to physically go up to Dublin and knock on doors of production companies and again cold call them and say, here's a DVD of my hidden camera stuff. I've loads of scripts, I've loads of sketches. If you ever want to do something, I'm your guy. And I think that word just kind of got around. And then when they were making The Fear, somebody had obviously already seen the stuff. So they went, let's give this guy a shot. So they gave me a test day for one day. And then they rang me up then afterwards and they said, do you want to be a full-time cast member?
OK. Things will naturally go wrong when you're making a show like this. And things could get very hairy, shall we say. Yeah, where threats could be made on your person. Did that happen?
I was punched.
Where?
I was punched on season 2. But I wanted to push it to the point where I was punched. And I used to keep saying to Derek Dillon, the director who was out with us, I used to keep saying, going to try and get punched today. I want to get a punch because it'll be great. Like, and Derek just was like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, let's see how it goes. And I pushed one guy to the point where I kept following him down the street to continue the joke, and the bit was over, but I just thought I might be able to get a rise out of this guy more and more. So I think I had Nick Rep patches all over my body, and I was trying to get him to put them in different positions. So then I was like trying to drop trow and saying like, look, I'll pull them all off, so I need you to put it somewhere where they can't reach. So I was pulling up different things, and I kept following this one particular guy so much that he turned around, and as he turned around, he gave me a little, no, not a big dig, but like kind of a back off dig. Yeah, in the side of the neck here. And I was like, amazing, we got it. And Derek was like, we can never show it if you're punched. And I was like, 12 months I've been trying to get a dig. And he was like, I just wanted to see if you get one.
That's brilliant.
That is amazing. Let's talk young offenders.
Oh my God, what a great team.
And look, if you're going to write about Cork, you need to get Cork writers. And you became involved in the last season.
Yeah, so Peter Foote was the producer on The Fear as well. Yeah. And I kind of started working with him then after The Fear. He said, do you want to write some scripts with me? And, do you want to kind of work on my stuff that I've got going on? So I was working with Peter on all his different projects. And I was working on The Fear kind of since season 1, doing little bits and pieces. Like one day he might say, hey, do you want to write Connor's voiceovers for this episode? Or here's a scene, do you want to punch this up with some jokes? Or, write all the action for this episode and then, all that kind of stuff. So, and we'd write in the room together, like literally line for line with each other. And then in season 4, then the previous one, he said, do you want to write an episode? So I had to go off that. And then once he read that episode, he was like, do you want to write another one? And then that episode ended up getting split in 2 then. So I ended up writing three episodes.
It's pure Cork though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's pure Cork.
It's got, and I think Cork is a character of the show as well.
Yeah.
It's like, that is a very identifiable thing. It's kind of like, same as Derry Girls. I think Derry is a character of the show. It has a real strong identity. So then everything is seeped with that. So it almost becomes, a kind of an accoutrement to everything because it's got that extra layer on it,
Yeah.
And I suppose in England they look at it and just go, that's hilarious, that place looks mental. And then in Dublin everyone's going, the cultures are hilarious. But to Cork audiences then, they're just going, that's us.
Fab.
That's us.
I know. And of course, if anyone wants to listen to you every morning, your dulcet tones on the radio, back in my old alma mater.
Yeah, the breakfast show, Lorraine Ross in the morning on Cork's 96 FM every morning, 6 to 9. Monday to Friday.
And you're there tomorrow morning.
I'm there tomorrow.
Jealous, you're living in Cork, you're on the radio on Cork, you're living the dream, boy.
I am, yeah, and I'm shilling it.
I like being with you too, Mark, but
Cork,
Cork,
we'll take
Cork. I'm telling you, if you cut me, I bleed Barry's teeth.
Gold or red?
Oh, yeah,
red.
yeah.
Red, God.
Red, oh God, we can't be. No,
I
don't have notions. I don't have any notions.
All the important questions are asked on this show.
I'm telling you, boy.
Absolutely. Great to see you, Ross.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Catch Ross across his Only Joking comedy tour from now until November. Tickets are available at rossbrowne.com.
Now, up next, we're taking your wardrobe from day to evening. We're on the catwalk after the break. Don't go anywhere.
You're very welcome back. Do you ever open your wardrobe and think you have absolutely nothing to wear?
Well, do not fear. Shirley Lane is here to share fabulous wardrobe staples that will take you from day to night with a few mix and match combos. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're in very simple pieces you can have in your wardrobe forever and ever, amen. And they'll never go out of fashion.
Yeah, that's what I love.
Yeah.
I love putting something on and I'm done. So that it's not overcomplicated. It doesn't need too many accessories or anything like that. I like getting dressed in the morning and I'm comfortable for the day. I'm not pulling at the fabrics and I'm out the door. Because there's a million and one other things to do in the day, right?
Yes,
so the
and
clothes,
to worry about
you just want to put on, you want to feel great. And a big thing as well with your clothes, you want to feel put together, right? And I think that's so important. You want to feel like your outfit is finished, like that it actually comes together.
Yes.
And that for me is where you're going to get your cost per wear. Because if you buy something that you're going to feel great in it and it's easy wear, you want to wear it a lot.
Okay,
and I think that's what it's all about. And these looks are from the Casual company and their whole brand and ethos is about easy to wear, stylish clothes that come together. So we're going to kick off with Sarah. Sarah's going to come out now. And the key about it is, like, when you see this, like, I'd love to just get up in the morning doing school runs with my two and just put this on and you're done. But it's beautiful, it's casual, it's chic, it's stylish, it's so comfortable, which I think is so important. And you know what? It's a lovely change to leggings and all of that. And these beautiful hoops, I love these because if you just want small, subtle jewellery, I think these are gorgeous. You can't ever go wrong with a lovely hoop, right? They're beautiful, great price point. But again, they can stay in the ear and they can go with loads of different options. But this is beautiful. And again, it's gorgeous because you have that beautiful cord. You know it goes together. You know you're finished. You know it looks amazing. And I love the navy. I just think it's so fresh, beautiful colour against our skin tone. And then you have that added pop of colour down the side. But it's beautiful, so chic, so comfortable. But again, you're dressed.
It has a look about the leisure wear, but in fact, the fabric is a lot different. It flows more kindly.
It just falls. The fabric just falls, and I love that leg, and I actually wear that leg a huge amount outside of work and inside of work, that culotte style. I think it's very easy to wear, it's ridiculously comfortable, and then just paired with these beautiful, very simple canvas trainers, and I think they just go with absolutely everything. And you're bringing in a little bit of colour from the piping in the shoe, with the piping on the cord, and you know what? If you're looking at cost per wear, you could live in this.
I nicked a pair of those for
You
my sister
really
yesterday,
could, and
actually,
they're
because
fabulous.
they're so handy.
They're so handy. They go with everything. And for me as well, I love a V-neck, and I love it's absolutely gorgeous. So again, you could wear the top with a nice little pair of white skinny jeans or a nice little navy pair of denims. You can wear the bottoms with something else. Absolutely perfect. So again, you can mix and match, which is great. Then you have this beautiful jersey dress. So if you want to get up in the morning and just run out the door, you just throw this on. Beautiful soft cottons. Again, just looking at these beautiful detailed with the necklace. So it's a double necklace.
I love it.
So
Is that
you
one
just put it
piece?
on. It's one piece. It's fabulous.
That's handy.
So handy. It just makes life so much easier in the morning. You just put on your double neck piece and you're out the door. And then you have this really, really soft cotton. It's absolutely lovely. And again, Irish women, we love when it gets a bit cooler to get into a nice sleeve. This one, again, I would probably belt it up as well, you know, and just cinch up that waist and just give it that extra little bit of waist definition. But this is great. And you could also wear this in the middle of the winter with tights and boots.
Yes, of
and
course.
again, throw a little leather jacket over it, out the door. But again, such a simple piece, so easy to wear. €42, amazing price for the fabric, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good.
And again, these gorgeous little trainers on Hannah, they're fab. And again, they would go with so much in the wardrobe. So again, if you're going with stripes and things like that in your clothes, try and keep your footwear simple enough, you know, so that you pull it all together nice and easy. But what a comfortable look to get up in the morning, throw it on and out the door in 2 minutes. But that's what the Casual company is about. Really nice fabrics, simple and easy dressing in the morning for busy women on the run that just want to feel fab.
And put together.
You do. I think it's so important. And now we have Sarah coming up next. Thanks, Hannah. I love that. I think for 42 is beautiful.
Chunky boots as well.
Chunky boots, leather jacket, nice waist belt, absolutely fab. And now this is gorgeous.
Yes.
And I love the little bomber jacket. I think it's such an easy to wear piece. Again, we're going into a season where we do need a layer. And when we need a layer, it's going to get cold. So this is ideal. You could wear this over a dress. It's lovely cotton material. Yeah, it's beautiful. And you see where it's lovely and cropped on the waistband. So if you're wearing a little dress, it cuts you in beautiful on the waist.
Because any lower than that, it'll make you look boxy and chunky,
you don't want
but it's
it too
actually
square
nice.
cut. So this is beautiful. And again, you see the lovely pocket detail. And again, we're sticking with jewellery as well for this one, which is just nice, simple little gold, delicate jewellery for this because you have the stripe. So you don't want to go too much, right? Whereas I think this pendant is beautiful, really, really nice. And I love a striped t-shirt. I love a striped t-shirt that doesn't stick too much. And this one just falls on the body. And then you have these beautiful joggers. So if there's anyone at home that wants to get out of the leggings and wants something a little bit different, I think these are a lovely alternative. Really, really soft, easy to wear.
Pockets.
And again, pockets, absolutely. You've pockets in the jacket, you've pockets in the trousers, and even a lovely elastine waist on these. So really, really flattering. I would also wear those trousers with a pair of heels or a sock boot or whatever, and they're beautiful with these canvas trainers as well. €32, really simple. You can wipe them down, easy to maintain and keep them clean.
Yes, and slip-on. I love slip-on because I find like once we're out of summer, you can't just throw on the flip-flops or the sandals. You want something that you can just easily put on still.
And I love the little top. And again, the top can be mixed and matched with other items, whether it's a skirt or denims or whatever. But this material is absolutely beautiful. It's like butter on the skin. But again, such an easy to wear, versatile outfit that can be mixed and matched. But when it's put together, it's absolutely fabulous. Really, really nice.
The
Thank you, Sarah.
monochrome is nice as well, isn't it?
Monochrome's lovely. You always look put together and chic in a black and white stripe. Isn't this
a square neck? I die for a square neck. I really
and it's hard to get them.
Yes.
I love a square neck. I love a V-neck. I love this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to kick off with the hairband. I love that pearl encrusted detail. Really, really elegant, really stylish, so beautiful. And again, look at the price point. Absolutely gorgeous. But this dress, right, when I say...
It looks like a magic dress. You know, sometimes people bring out these dresses that just tick all the boxes,
It's
basically.
absolutely beautiful. Number one, you have a hidden bra strap, which to me is...
What now?
Your bra's hidden within it, right? So sometimes if you have an open square neck, you can see a bra. So you'd have to go strapless. So this one is absolutely great. Price, colour, quality, cut, sleeve, it has everything for me, right? It really does. Again, belt it up. Take off the belt, put a denim jacket, leather jacket, put a blazer to it. So again, if you're looking for something maybe for workwear or outside of workwear, maybe occasion wear, I think something like this is incredible. €42.
The true
What
waist
a
is great as
steal.
well.
And it has pockets like...
Yes,
I
it
love all
has
the
pockets. And my own dress as well. Yes, my own one is from the casual company as well. And I have pockets and I love it. And again, teamed with beautiful little short heels, which are beautiful, really simple, really elegant, leaves the dress to the talking. This dress could be in your wardrobe for years to come.
It comes in a few colourways as well.
Yeah, it does. And you have my dress, which comes in a pink and it comes in leopard print. I can't tell you how comfortable this is.
Did you say about leopard print?
You pry on the leopard print.
I do, yeah.
It's absolutely...
neutral.
Well, you would love this leopard print, actually, that I have outside. This I absolutely adore. I think it's such a dress that can be worn so many different ways. Dress it up, dress it down. You saw the white canvas trainers earlier. This dress would also be perfect with something like that. And actually get the customer wear. Get your value out of it. Instead of leaving it sit in the wardrobe, just dress it down because that material is heaven to wear.
And a thick
that's
belt
what
would
we
be
want.
lovely as well, to
Thick
tone with
belt,
shoes.
chunky boots, black tights, absolutely take you through, right through the next few seasons. And you know what? That dress is seasonless. You wear it all year, which I love. So wear all their looks, all from the Casual Company, all online and free delivery.
Thank you so much, Shirley. Now, still to come this morning, we chat to a woman with HIV on her struggle to get fertility treatment in Ireland.
Plus, we've strawberry treats in the kitchen. Join us for all of that after this break.
Now we'll have a final look at your Sunday paper, starting with the front page of the Sunday Independent. Its headline reads, "Property prices on track for 10% surge this year." The paper goes on to report that house prices grew by 8.2% in the first half of this year, with property price inflation predicted to hit 10% by the end of 2024.
On the front of the Business Post this morning, it leads with Harris and Starmer herald new dawn for Anglo-Irish relations. It writes that after their first bilateral meeting in Dublin, the two leaders pledged to hold a joint summit in March of each year to deliver a fundamental reset in the relationship between Ireland and the UK post-Brexit.
The Sunday Times leads with vulture funds to pay twice stamp duty on homes. The paper reports that the rate of stamp duty on the bulk purchase of new homes by so-called vulture funds should be doubled to 20%, according to Fine Gael, amid mounting pressure on the coalition to tackle the housing crisis.
Onto the tabloids. In the Irish Mail on Sunday leads with Fianna Fáil launch fight back to claim credit for the budget. The paper writes that Fianna Fáil-led departments are colluding to develop vote-catching budget cuts to outshine their Fine Gael coalition partners.
The Irish Sunday Mirror leads with Brian Forgets Who I Am. It reports that Fair City actor Brian Murray's rapidly progressing Alzheimer's means he often does not recognise his wife and former co-star Una Crawford O'Brien.
Sunday World leads with bad blood. Gun thug says he's all good after horror stabbing. The paper writes the volatile criminal, Gavin Sheehan, who was the target of a daytime knife attack in Cork City on Friday afternoon, is doing well after he posted the short statement, "We're good," to social media on Friday night.
The Sun on Sunday leads with Amanda rage at BBC over Geo. The paper goes on to report that the Sherlock star and former Strictly participant Amanda Abington is angry with BBC executives as she believes the probe into the alleged abusive behaviour of professional dancer Giovanni Pernice will be a whitewash.
Now it's just time for a quick look at your text messages. Anna was in touch, and earlier on we were discussing Ireland and England's UEFA Nations League clash that was on yesterday, and Anna says, "I was ashamed of being Irish yesterday. I hoped England would win because of the disgraceful booing during England's anthem. Thankfully, so far, that has never happened in rugby," she says.
There's a reason for that. Like it was the... No, sorry, I'm not condoning the booing yesterday, but it's the Republic of Ireland soccer team, and we have a Northern Irish soccer team. In rugby, we have an all-Ireland team, and not everybody is of the same political views, and some of the players that would come from Ulster to play from Ireland don't recognise...
British,
they don't recognise Aaron Naveen as their anthem. Their anthem is God Save the King, as it is now. So when they come south to watch internationals at the Aviva, Ireland Naveen wouldn't be their song. So that's why Ireland's Call exists. And we made a documentary about the creation of Ireland's Call. And Anna, maybe you should watch that and give you a better understanding.
But even so, yes, I know.
I don't condone it.
I know, but like Lee Carsley, former Ireland player, as England manager, we have Damien Rice and Jack Grealish, both who played for Ireland. So, of course, the Irish fans were going to be cranky. However, booing the national anthem, it's a step too far. It's kind of... didn't shine a very nice light on us, really, did it?
Well, look, Chris Martin in Croke Park on Monday night said he thanked the audience for welcoming him and one of his other bandmates, who are both English, to Ireland, but acknowledged, he said it's lovely to get that welcome, bearing in mind what
happened
our ancestors did in your country for so many years.
But do you think in a sporting event it would be nice to be able to put, if they can try and put things up aside and get an assembly up the north, maybe it'd be nice to be a bit more understanding here, especially when sport is supposed to bring people together. It's not supposed to divide people. Anyway. Keep your comments coming, 0896 111 111. Now, up next, we speak to a nurse with HIV who continues to fight for her right to have a child. Stay with us. We're back after this short break. Very welcome back. When our next guests, Aine and Peter, first started exploring fertility treatment options, they didn't know that it would be more difficult to get help with starting a family simply because Aine is HIV positive.
Ireland is seriously behind in offering fertility treatments to people with the virus, even if the virus is intransmissible and undetectable thanks to treatment, as is the case for Aine. Her and Peter join us this morning. It's good to see you both. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for coming and chat to us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tell us about this. You're trying to get access to IVF.
We are trying to get access to IVF, and like any other regular couple, we just started having difficulties. It's like, okay, let's go to a fertility clinic, get us tested and see how things goes. Unfortunately, Peter was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, but thankfully only affect his reproductive system. And here is where all the doors starting closes, because we didn't know. But in Ireland, when you are HIV positive, regardless of your U equals U status, which means undetectable, therefore untransmittable, there's no access for IVF.
So as it stands, if you were trying to get pregnant naturally, that wasn't happening by the normal routes. You went down the IVF journey, and simply because it's down to the availability of certain labs because of EU legislation.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a virus, certain types of viruses, be it HIV or anything else, the tests and the embryos and the gametes and everything else have to be stored and tested in a separate lab to everybody else's. And we don't have that here, either privately or publicly. And that's where the crux of the matter is.
Yeah. There is already separate labs for hepatitis. We know that there is already a clinic, a fertility clinic, that is doing it for hepatitis patients, both with viral load and undetectable. So our fight is to have the same rights and have the same separate labs for people with HIV.
So you don't know who actually, as it stands, who if one, if not both of you, have the difficulty in actually conceiving as a couple because you haven't been able to access any of the tests yet?
So we know that is on Peter's side because of the cystic fibrosis that comes with azoospermia. That is that he ejaculates, but there's an absence of a spermosome in the ejaculation.
Yeah.
But there is a specific test that needs to be done that is called TESE, that is a testicular extraction in a surgical room, sorry. And fertility clinics in Ireland wouldn't do it because this is part of a fertility package.
The whole lot.
The
So
whole
you're,
thing.
you're there as a couple, as a unit, as
Exactly.
opposed to you and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd have to go overseas. Can I just ask, you are a nurse.
Yeah.
So is there any complications that could arise if, as a person that is HIV positive, any complications that could arise if you were to have a child?
So once you reach the untransmissible status, it is impossible to transmit it to anyone. So the chances for a child to get transmitted during the pregnancy, the virus, it is less than 1%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is less than 1%. Backed up by science and by different studies out there.
So, as it stands, you sought medical advice before any of this happened?
Yeah, we
as
have
a
the
couple?
we have the green light from GP, gynecologists, blood specialists, and other countries are doing it.
Must be incredibly frustrating, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how are you navigating this together? I mean, from day to day, you're wondering what will go on.
Yeah, because I mean, she has the HIV, which is, in a way, it's a burden that you carry all along. And then she is a woman, and she wants to be pregnant. We want to have a child, and just seeing all these doors closed, and then because we were trying to conceive for almost 2 years, and then I just was like, maybe I should get checked as well. So I get checked, and then it turns out that I was azoospermic, and then I had a genetics done, and then suddenly it's like, yes, you have cystic fibrosis, which in a way I'm very lucky because I'm with a few percentage of people that I don't have any of the symptoms. I wouldn't even have known I had it if I hadn't done a fertility check. So that on top of what she already is carrying, it's just very heavy. And seeing her with this heavy jacket on her shoulder constantly, and it's not nice to be pushed abroad, like when all the other European countries are not having any issues based on our conditions, to just give us that treatment, and that should be here.
Okay. We hear of situations where treatments aren't available in Ireland and the HSE will give advice and people will go to other places around Europe or around the world.
Yes.
Well, particularly around Europe, though, and because we're part of the EU, and will get their treatment, and the HSE would help with the funding of that.
Yeah.
The HSE are saying that they don't fund this.
Do they don't fund the treatment at all, or they won't fund the travel?
They don't fund the treatment currently, even though there is a new scheme for IVF in Ireland. But because there's no IVF in Ireland for HIV-positive people, they don't fund me. However, if we go to the abroad scheme, let me explain you first the abroad scheme and then how it will fall on us. So the requirements for the travel abroad scheme is either the service is not available in Ireland, which it is.
It isn't.
Or, well, it is. IVF is a service that is available in Ireland.
Yes.
But for the HIV...
Here where it's come. So the service is available in Ireland. Or either it's not available at the time of applying for it. But then it comes the second part. Your GP or whoever refers you have to refer you to a public hospital or public institution. When you go for IVF, you go to private clinics because you don't fall into the public system of those countries. Even myself, if I will go to Spain, I'm a Spanish citizen and always will be, but I am not a resident in Spain. I've been in Ireland for almost a decade and paying my taxes here, so I wouldn't fall into the public system. However, is the HSC doing an exception for HIV people since it is a service that is not available for us yet? this is something that we are waiting to be confirmed from their side.
We have had a statement, and I know funding has been set aside to develop such a lab that will facilitate people like yourself in the next year. But the statement from the right of apply from the HSE, because the key points, it was quite a lengthy one, I'll give that to you. No public nor private AHR, which is assisted human reproduction provider in Ireland, is currently positioned to offer advanced treatments such as IVF or ICSI if either the female or the male is HIV positive. Neither the HSE, the HPRA or the Department of Health has the power to direct private assisted human reproduction providers operating in Ireland to put in place the necessary facilities and systems to cater for patients who have tested positive for these things. But now this is key, I think. There will be available next year the first public national AHR centre, which is scheduled to open in Cork, which is near you next year. And it's in the pipeline. It would be inclusive of everybody and everyone will be able to access it. But it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And how hopeful are you that it will actually transpire?
We already heard 2 years ago from a clinic in Cork that it will be available anytime soon. It will be available anytime soon. So they are saying now there's going to be next year. Will be though.
And next year it could be kicked down the road.
And they do say that any couple is identified in one of the 6 regional fertility hubs in which one or both partners are living with HIV who clinically require this, and you meet the national criteria, which you do, and cannot be managed or cared for within Ireland, which you can't. You will be redirected abroad in the HSE's treatment abroad scheme, but you don't know if you qualify for that yet.
No.
When will you get an answer?
We're waiting for it.
How long have you been waiting?
Months.
Months, yes.
So it's incredibly upsetting and frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
How is it affecting you? Like, is it drawing you closer together, or does it become
No, it is actually drawing us together, thankfully. And he's my main supporter because I'm going down all the time. It's like, but I'm just asking for what is right and what is fair. I'm just asking for the right to have access for something that everyone else is having access. And there are days that I see babies or I see pregnant ladies and I completely calm down and crying. And he's like, we will reach that point. It doesn't matter how and when, but we will be there. So it is making us get together, definitely.
I mean, an IVF journey is incredibly traumatic at the best of times, with everything going well, accessing all the tests and the supports and the treatment, but having to fight just to get to that first step is incredibly difficult.
It is.
Particularly because I think maybe the stigma around HIV isn't even within the medical profession. People don't seem to realise that you equals you.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And since I started work many years ago in this industry, where HIV was essentially a death sentence, now you're treated with antiretrovirals, and I could nearly blood transfuse to you and me now and I wouldn't get it.
Absolutely. And I think that is the problem, the education, the lack of education. Many people keep thinking back in the 80s that the HIV was a death sentence, that immediately will mutate in AIDS. This is not that anymore. If you and I right now get a blood test, it wouldn't show that I'm HIV positive because we need to do a specific count of CD4 cells. My HIV is undetectable, therefore untransmittable. And this is really important for people to understand. You equals you. Once you reach that status, you can have sexual intercourse with your partner with no protection because it's not going to be transmitted. You can have your kids without the risk of this getting transmitted. So we're normal people walking around and there's no risk for us to transmit this to nobody. Absolutely.
And all you're doing is waiting for answers.
Yeah.
So the fight goes on, and you're not alone. There are other people who are in the same situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not doing this for myself at all because I know that the change is going to take time. So I'm not doing this for myself. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for pity. I'm doing this for a whole community, for the whole HIV community. And I just got angry and I said, someone has to speak about this. Fortunately, I can go abroad. I can go home. My sister lives in Madrid. Like, I can afford this, but not many people can.
Yeah, and for those who are struggling and can't afford to fight like you,
exactly.
That's why you're doing it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on the show. And please keep in touch with us and let us know how you get on. We'll have everything.
And hopefully we'll welcome you back here.
Hopefully. Thank you so much for having us here.
Now, if you have any questions or would like support around any of these issues, you can find further assistance at hivireland.ie.
There's lots more to come this morning. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
You're very welcome back. Sorry, Chef Lizzie from Lizzie's Little Kitchen joins us this morning with a much needed sweet treat, as sweet as yourself.
Yes, she's whipping up something very nice. Strawberry shortcake trifle. Morning, Lizzie.
Good morning.
What are we having?
We are making a lovely trifle. It's a little bit different.
How is it different now? Tell us. What amazing ingredients have you there that's out of this world?
This is a mix of cream cheese and double whipped cream and some icing sugar. And the base, it's supposed to be shortcake, but I've made it more spongy because I like a bit of
traditional trifle sponge.
Yes.
What liquid is in it then, or do you just let the cream soak through?
So what we do is we chop, slice. Thank you very much. I like the way you're getting. You're on fire this morning.
With a hatchet?
With a knife. We're going to slice the strawberries and we just drizzle a little bit of sugar over them.
Yeah.
Sprinkle a little
syrups a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. So self-made syrup. So we're going to get on to the base anyway. So I have creamed some butter and sugar here together. And I got it done just so we wouldn't make much noise. And I'm going to whisk in 4 eggs. So we're doing the eggs one at a time.
Okay.
Just to incorporate them all into the mixture and not to make a big mad mess.
Okay, a big mad mess. That's the official terminology for it. A big mad mess. Excellent.
We
so
don't
all the wet ingredients first.
Yeah. So we've creamed the sugar and the butter together, and then we are adding in our eggs one at a time.
Okay.
All right.
You're very good at whisking, Izzy. Lizzie, you're very good at that.
Whisking.
Your talent, whisking.
I love it. I could do it all day.
I say you could. Not that you do it all day, but yeah, perhaps. So how many people does this ingredient feed?
You definitely get 6 to 8 out of...
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a decent dinner party.
Yeah, are you keeping note of this now so you can make it for me someday? Because
I absolutely will.
So now I've the zest of 1 lemon here.
Okay.
Oh, it's very fresh.
Yeah, really fresh and zesty, and there's loads of different components to it. So we'll just mix that through. And now I have self-raising flour.
Okay.
Sieve it in.
Sieve it in.
How much self-raising flour have you in?
225 grams.
Okay.
So it's almost like a pound cake, you know, it's like for like 225, 225, and 225 of butter, sugar and self-raising.
And is this just like a normal sponge, would you think?
Yeah, it is really, yeah. So it's really easy, even for the kids to make at home. And last night I was getting ready.
Shut up, you.
I was getting ready last night, and when the lads were small, I used to have a really small little spatula for them when they'd be cooking with me.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring it for somebody, but I couldn't find it.
You were going to bring it for me and you couldn't find it. I gave you the clothes off my own back day. That woman arrived in today with a flour-stained top and leggings. She left all her clothes in Gary. What did I do? I gave her my dress and this is the thanks, slagging me. Fantastic.
I
Thanks,
could have posted up to you that little spatula.
No, thank you. I won't use it. There's no point. No good comes of me in the kitchen. We all know that. So anyway, it's a shallow baking tray, is it?
We're getting it onto a Swiss roll tin because we want it nice and
flat.
Yeah. You're taking my cues this morning.
Yes, you're taking ages, Lizzie. Jeannie Mac, would you?
I know.
See, you're too busy slagging me.
I was doing the whole demure and really cutesy this morning and taking my time, and it didn't work.
No. Now look where it got you.
Yeah. A pair of black leggings and my top on me with a domestic stain.
I thought it was flour.
So we're putting this into the oven at 180 for 25 minutes until it's cooked through. And the next thing we're going to get onto is our homemade custard, right? So I have 250 mils of milk in here and I have 75 mils of cream. And we're just going to let that come up to a very, very slow heat.
Yeah.
When you see a little bubble around the side, you know it's done, all right?
Now adding the egg is the issue, isn't it?
Now, so what we have here is we're doing our egg mixture now. So we've 4 egg yolks in here, 40 grams of sugar.
And so it's just the egg yolks for this, is it?
Just the egg yolks. You don't use the whites because it'll help. Yeah. And I have 1 heaped tablespoon of corn flour, okay? So what we're going to do then, we're going to mix this through. And
you have to be very, 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 very careful with the custard, don't you?
You do, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
You need time and patience for it, but it's worth it in the end because there's nothing like it.
Homemade custard is fabulous.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm just going to use this again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to very slowly add this back into our saucepan, into our pan. You see the lovely colour?
Yes. Yeah. Would you let the cream and milk mixture cool down much first?
You're only barely heating it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So there's a heat on it and you're barely heating it. Just when a little bubble comes to the side of the pan, you know that it's ready to go. So I've all of that in there now. And what you could do, there's two options. You could make a bain-marie out of this. You could put water in it and drop this on top. Or you can add it back into your non-stick saucepan and let it cook very gently.
Yeah.
Under a very slow heat.
Like we're talking a simmer?
Not even a simmer, a bubble. Yeah. So that would take you probably about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you keep a close eye on it for all those 5 minutes?
Yes, exactly. A close eye.
So once we've done all this...
we've done all this, we are getting on to our lovely cream and mascarpone. So inside here, I have some cream cheese, icing sugar, and now I have some whipped cream. And we're adding all of that together.
It's a lovely Sunday dinner dessert, isn't it? I have to say trifle is my very favourite. And you don't get it hardly anywhere anymore.
No, it's not as popular.
And it's so comforting. Well, probably not yours now. Yours is a bit posher than the average trifle that I'd be making, but you know, it's
But this is very easy. Like, I know
dinner.
there's loads of steps in it, but you could skip a couple if you didn't want. Like, you could always get a pre-made sponge. You could always get pre-made custard and add in your own little bits then. So these are the strawberries that I told you about. I've just sprinkled them with sugar, and you'll see that syrup that you were asking about, Elaine.
So how do you assemble it now? Show me.
So now, very quickly, I've cut out a disc there.
From the sponge,
From the sponge. This is the sponge that we created earlier, all right? And then we're going to get a little bit of strawberry and put it on top. Yeah.
And just literally strawberry and sugar. Did you put any water in that?
No, nothing. But you leave it for maybe about 20 minutes.
And it all just leaches out.
This is the custard that I made last night. So we're going to get the custard on top. And the custard is cold, so the custard sets and it sits beautifully inside the trifle.
So it has to be cool before you
you cool it. Right. And what I did was I just put a little bit of parchment paper over it.
My mouth is literally watering.
And then, oops, let me just check. I popped this into a piping bag. You don't need to, but I just did it for ease today.
That's because you're being posh. Yeah.
I was trying to be very posh.
I would have backfired.
Getting up early, you know, being really organised like my sister Noreen. Noreen, it doesn't work for me. A bit of chaos is better for me.
Okay. Can we have a taste?
Yes, please.
Yes, you can.
You're giving us...
We're getting the posh stuff.
You're getting the posh stuff.
Oh, I cannot wait for this.
Now, guys, there you go.
Oh, isn't that delightful?
You just Lizzie, we're spoiled.
You just continue on layering this up. We'll go again. And your strawberries.
That is so good, Lizzie.
You're really good at this.
Thank you. You seem surprised.
I'll have you back.
Sometimes it shocks me.
Yeah.
You can barely dress yourself, never mind make a lovely trifle.
No, what I was going to say is there anybody below at home in Kerry that has a wedding or an event that they need somebody dressed very nicely to go to, just send a message and let me know.
We'll be there this afternoon with your trifle.
She's ready. She's ready.
Lizzie, thank you so much once again for joining us now. Full recipe details are up on our website, or you can pop down to Lily's Little Kitchen in Listowel. You'll be well looked after. She'll even do a little Siege of Venice for you. After the wedding.
Still to come, James McAvoy's highly anticipated thriller Speak No Evil finally hits screens next week, and we've got the preview. We'll see you in 3.
I'm trying to remember. At times it comes back to me.
More letters starting with L. Something's gone. It's amiss. Lost.
Losing your memory is like watching a bullet in slow-mo for years coming towards you and you can't avoid it.
Reserved and uncommunicative. You're being very uncommunicative at the moment, aren't you?
Getting lazy.
Yeah, certainly are.
There's so many conversations I'd love to have and so many things that I just would love to have found out about her.
You're bigger than the mountain, Matt.
As this layer of worry has lifted off. But is it her anymore?
Fáilte Gáis go IrelandAM. Now, from Emily in Paris to Jeremy Clarkson's Grand Tour finale, there's a lot coming to screens this week.
There's no better man to break it all down for us than Kellyanne O'Sullivan. Isn't that right?
Well, thanks for having me.
We're delighted
Great to see
have
you
here. Emily in Paris, season 4, part 2.
Yes.
But she's not in Paris anymore.
She's in Rome.
Okay,
What?
she's gone on holidays, or
Well,
is she
no,
working?
she's gone on a work trip, but as her boss puts it, it's not the first time she's mixed business with pleasure.
Ooh.
Gonna go spoiler light if you're a fan
Does
of this.
this mean she's not getting the subsistence allowance?
Oh, she's, yeah, your per diem is cut because she's enjoying it. No, so basically, right, without going too spoiler heavy on this, the part 1 of this season dropped earlier on in the year, and it was left on a bit of a cliffhanger in that there was a wedding that was called off. And then there has been a pregnancy. Oh, it is hard to talk about this without giving the goose away. But needless to say, it has resulted in poor Emily being a little bit thrown off her game, shall we say. She has to go to Rome for work, which she's a bit reluctant to do, but she does it. God bless her. I mean, I get to go to Ballymount for work, but she gets to go to Rome.
She's jealous, by the way.
Yeah, she'd love to be here.
Really she only wishes.
She's asking her boss, can I just go to Ballymount, please?
Yeah.
The real glamour capital of the world. Yeah. So anyway, she goes to Rome, and of course she finds a man, and all of that ensues. But then what she has left in Paris isn't what she thought she left in Paris as the season unfolds.
Ooh,
Okay.
cryptic. I like it.
Yeah.
And I've just heard that this is such a beautiful show to watch.
So a lot of the creatives behind it and some of the fashion creators behind it are the same people that brought us Sex and the City. So I think with Sex and the City they realised the fashion was almost just as important as the narrative and everything else.
Yeah.
So the aesthetic of this show is really, 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 really well received. And you can see it, the styling of it is gorgeous. And the fact now they get to move to Rome and it's basically like a love letter to Rome. It looks
it's
stunning.
like a travelogue.
There's going to be an awful lot of rich white American girls being like, Daddy, I want to go to Europe this summer. So if you live in Paris or Rome, be prepared for a lot of Yanks to come into town and be like, where's Emily? I'm having my Emily summer, my brat summer.
But of course, their last stop will be Ballymount.
Of course, I'll have to swing by Ballymount.
Yes.
Yeah, the real glamour capital.
Okay, let's move on to Harry and Meghan. This is a documentary coming to Virgin Media this week.
Yes, so is America turning against them? So, of course, when they first moved back to the States, or at least Meghan back to the States and Harry moved to the States, they were welcomed with open arms and big purse strings. I think they got 20 million off Spotify for a series of podcasts. That's a similar figure that you got with Jenny for your podcast series, isn't it?
Well, actually, we were brokering a similar deal, and then we thought we couldn't handle the pay cut.
Okay, you're right to. It's cost of living crisis, man. It's gone up.
Absolutely.
So anyway, the Spotify deal has since kind of disbanded. They said it was broken amicably, but it's rife with rumours. Rumours that Meghan Markle wasn't even doing her own interviews. Producers were doing the interviews, and then she was just recording her questions after the fact.
Oh, that's a great rumour.
Like, this is... So, at some of the bigger interviews, she is videoed with the guest. But with some of the contributors who'd be contributing to like a bigger story piece, they're just talking with a producer, which in the world of TV can happen, right? But if you're selling it as something, then it's found out that it's not. There is this whole tide turning against them. And there is a little bit of... Like, in America anyway, look, this is just the media doing what they do. They build people up just so they can take them down because they sell papers on the way up. And guess what they do on the way down? They sell papers on the way back down again. So is this just more of that happening? But there is a little bit of a tide turning in public opinion of Meghan and Harry, and particularly of Meghan. And that's partly driven by the media and their kind of willingness just to say, see the way she sat there with her legs folded that way? Well, that means she's actually the lead of the relationship, and she's the one influencing him away from the family. And you're like, she's just sitting folding her legs. But anyway, it's all about filling time and selling paper, and so that's what they're doing. But this documentary is going to look into that. It's going to have a look to see if the tide is turning and if public opinion is going against them. Like, they've made big money. Harry, I think, made about 20 million on his advance for his book. But they're going to need more money because where they're living in America and the amount that it costs to live where they're living in America.
Yes.
It's not cheap.
Mucho.
No.
Yeah, a lot of money. So 20 million actually doesn't last that long.
No. Okay. So, yeah.
I know, it's mad to say that.
Personal experience.
Personal experience, yeah.
All right, can we move on? Because I was sad to hear that the Grand Tour is reaching its finale.
Yeah, I mean, look, this, and fair play to the lads in that they've decided to bow out while they're still on top instead of bowing out before the car goes kaput. You know, they're checking out on top. And the beauty of it now being hosted on Amazon is that all the previous episodes of the Grand Tour, they're there for you to rewatch. And there are some great episodes. And it's really evolved from, this is not a car show anymore from Top Gear, completely unrecognisable. This has moved so far beyond that. It's almost a travel series. Yeah. Because in this particular series, they're each picking a car they've always wanted to drive. It needs to say that there's some quirky cars there. And they're going to some of their most favourite places in the world and some of the most beautiful places in the world. They're going from Zimbabwe all the way to Botswana. So we're going to see a side of the world that's unaffected by Meghan and Harry. Let's just say that the 20 million would go an awful long way in the places that they're going to be visiting. And it's, again, the way these are shot, it's stunning visually. And then, of course, you've got the banter between the three lads, which is what it is.
Well, that's what makes it, isn't it, really? You want to see the relationships.
And also the pranks they do on each other, which are absolutely hilarious. They have chosen some very old cars.
Yeah, they have.
There's a Lancia, I think,
the
for
Lancia
Jeremy.
Monte Carlo, yeah.
And Richard Hammond has what they called on Fools and Horses a Pratmobile. A Capri, a Ford Capri.
And the gas thing is, if you're going to do a drive through Africa, you would at least pick something that would be nice and reliable, but they're choosing cars that are already on the end of their life, and they're going to push them to their very limits. We'll just say that anyway.
Very quickly before you go, Speak No Evil.
Oh my God. Watching this trailer, I was torn between, I'm not watching this in the cinema, and I can't wait to watch this in the cinema. James McAvoy is the most intimidatingly scary, brilliant actor in this movie. His gaslighting performance is just unbelievable. If you're into a spook, a thriller, this will have you hook, line and sinker. If you're easily scared and if you don't want to spend the rest of your life questioning everything everyone ever says to you, then maybe don't watch this movie.
All right.
Thank you so much, Killian.
Thanks, Killian. That's
Cheers,
the
guys.
telly sorted, or in this case, the cinema not sorted.
Yeah.
Because I won't go to Speak No Evil. All right, Elaine's here.
I am. I'm back. Yay! Anyway, coming up tomorrow, funny woman Emma Doran talks working with comedy legends, the madness of motherhood and mastering her memoir. We speak to Irish Times journalist Patsy McGarry about the highs and lows of his career as a religious correspondent as well.
All that plus high street looks on the catwalk, and we learn the art of decluttering.
Yes,
What a
very
way to
handy.
spend your weekend.
You can join Tommy, Muireann and Alan tomorrow from 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you checked?
We're almost done.
Yeah.
We are.
Almost done. Almost into our own weekend.
Oh, yeah. A lot of comments about the England match. What about the English fans chanting all the way through our national anthem?
Yeah, there was
That's
a lot
in
of that
from
going
Jane.
on too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about statues being erected earlier. Graham Norton apparently asked not to have a statue. He thought it was a waste of money, so he asked for a walkway instead.
Could have the Martin
Far
King
more
walkway
useful.
here around the corner. You don't need a statue
I
anymore.
prefer the ice cream and the production notes.
So do I. So do I.
Statue of Liberty.
No. Enjoy your
Take care.
Sunday. Bye.
Bye-bye.